G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I've got an idea to bring to everyone. I think it's a good idea, but we'll let you guys decide that. It comes from questions I get in the comment section of videos happening over a long period of time. And it is, the question is, have you tried one of these? Have you got one of these? Could you do a shoot could you do a video with one of these? Or what do you think about one of these? Now, what is one of these? Well, it's a caliber of some description. Everything from a simple, not normally done very well, but the likes of a 22-250, or it could be something more exotic in a 30-378 Weatherby Magnum, or the 30-416, or a 7mm 300 Lapua Magnum, and yada yada yada. The list goes on and on and on of all the different ones, from old-fashioned stuff stuff that isn't used anymore hardly, to interesting hybrids, to in some cases factory things. In some cases we do that sort of stuff, the 300 PRC sort of stuff, we get onto and do it. But we have the tyranny of the funds involved with trying to do that sort of stuff. And my thoughts are that, listen, there are people that I just want to see it because it's something they're giving feedback, and they're giving they want to be involved, so they want to come up with an exotic caliber. There's some of that sort of stuff. There's people who have that rifle. They have the whatever it is, the 6.5-55 Swede, or they have the something that they haven't seen anything. Whether it's the 300 Blackout or a what's a common one, the 7mm 08. They have one of these rifles and they want to see it perform. They want to see it go through this bigger stuff. So they just want to see it out of vicariously, where they can't get to the range, get to see that rifle used at extreme long range like we do. Down to people, and probably the majority of people are thinking about building one of these and would really like to see it perform and to hear my thoughts on that sort of stuff. I also tend to reserve my thoughts, or I certainly don't make recommendations, but I reserve the thoughts without having gone through and tested it, because a theory, or what may seem to be something, isn't always something. Certainly getting better at understanding that sort of thing, and it gives me the information to be able to build things to the best I think they can be built, to go and really check their performance, but it still takes that process. So, I think an idea I want to put to you, I want to put out there, is that we provide that opportunity for people to put their money where their mouth is a little bit. Now, largely, I'm not talking about buy one for us. What I'm talking about is that if you have a caliber or a cartridge that you want to see, us go through a development with, us go through and build one and shoot it. That's do up a barrel, and I should say on that sort of score, generally what I'm talking about is that for me to try a new cartridge, I have multiple actions that we swap things over on. We have chassis, we have scopes, we have scope rails, we have muzzle brakes, we have triggers, we have all the bits and pieces that we require. What we have to do up is a new barrel. In some cases that's by a new ream for the barrel, so we can do the chambering on the barrel. We have to buy brass, we have to buy loading dies, and we have to go through a whole development of the thing to build it and make it shoot. Work it all out, do that, all the bits and pieces, and bolt it to stuff we already have. So, if you wanted to see that, and I'm talking about doing it properly, I'm not talking about doing a bad design to make it work, perform badly, or to do it just what has been done before that doesn't work so well, but to actually make it work. A classic case there would be like I mentioned, the 22-250. Largely they're lots and lots of them out there, but they're all made for light grain bullets. So they're running a 1 in 14 or a 1 in 12 twist. They're running a pretty slow twist, and really that's quite a great little cartridge if we set it up properly as a in probably a 1 in 7 twist, or 1 in 8 twist, probably 1 in 7, and run heavier bullets through the thing. Then you can actually make that performance of that cartridge really start to step up with things. Nice heavy barrel and do that sort of stuff. So I'm not suggesting that we should do that, but I'm saying that's a classic case of what's actually happening. And then there's the big ones with pushing them really hard and fast, the 7mm, 3 pull, that sort of stuff, which are just stuff that there is reams for. And that doesn't exclude the things that there isn't ream for either. It's a cost thing, I'll get into that later on. But if you're interested in seeing that and prepared to put a bit into that, a bit of money where your mouth is, then what my suggestion is to put a comment on this video of what that cartridge is. Just put in that cartridge. If you've got permutations or things you want to do with that, then let us know. I'll put it in the comment below. I'll reply that, I'll acknowledge your reply, but it's really not for me. It's for other people. If you are keen on a cartridge in the same sort of fashion, you go through these comments down below and you can see that's already there, then you just put your name to that as well. You just say, I'm in, or yeah, I'm interested, or yep, put me on the list on that comment. Then if that comment builds up where there's 10 or 15 or there's 20, and it'll work it out via budget and that sort of stuff, but once it gets to a certain number, then we can say, okay, I will comment on there to say, listen, that looks like it's a go. We will then get people to email us of that list, go through and email us. We can work out a budget and let you know what that's going to be. So everyone on that list will be contacted to say, okay, this is what it is and what my hopeful, and I'll get into the money side of things now. What we generally spend, you have to do some conversions on this sort of stuff, in Australian dollars to do a barrel, or to do this, to use all our sort of stuff in something we've got an action for, we've got everything ready to go, we just need to do the barrel, the chambering, muzzle brake, blah, blah, we'll use our stuff, but just basically end up with a barrel with loading dies, with brass, all that sort of stuff. We're going to spend normally, on average, a bare minimum of $2,000 up to $4,000, depending on what's involved in that process, and that's what it costs, and that depends on the barrel, depends on the all the bits and pieces to go with that sort of stuff. That's roughly 60 cents. Our dollar's roughly 60 cents to a US. So I'm talking the $1,200 to $2,500 in US prices is what it actually cost us. And listen, no doubt there's cheaper ways to do things and all that sort of stuff in various ways, not after suggestions of how to make things cheaper. My main goal is to do it well. There's no point doing a cheaper version of something or other to pretend you've done it. We want to get good results as we're after. So those are real costs. So that's too much money for me to put my hands in my pocket too many times. That just it's part of what we have been doing. It's part of the bridge we're trying to cross. But if you come into where you have 10 people or 15 people that are interested in it, then you're looking at, roughly around, whether it's 70 or it's 130 US dollars. So probably around the 100 US dollars is what we're talking about. Of you get 15 people have done that, and you're in the average place of going there. So not a huge expense. There is obviously, I guess, to see that thing actually operate. There is, for everyone who contributes, there will be extra information. The stuff that we don't normally share, what we found out of the dies we used, how the dies worked and that sort of stuff, what we did in the chambering, what we did exactly with the ream we used and how far we pushed things forward with the bullets we're using, the amount of powder we actually used, that sort of thing, things that I don't share for safety reasons. In this situation, you will have paid for that sort of stuff, and I will take it to the next level, which obviously goes with all the conditions and things involved with sharing that information. But that's the extra win you get out of that. The main thing, and the bit that I hope is of most value, it certainly would be for me, and I hope it would be for you, is you're part of the team that actually did that. You're part of the small group that will have ended up having built those videos and built that rifle. It's really about obviously the barrel. And actually go and test that sort of stuff. Be that as exotic as the 30/416 Rigby sort of round, or it's as simple as, like I said, the 22-250 or a 7mm08, or all the things that we haven't got. If we have got them, we will, and people put that on there, we'll put forward and show you that sort of stuff. But it doesn't necessarily move into even that. If it's a case of I want to see, there's a whole gang of people that want to see what a 30-inch 300 or 338 Lapua Magnum operates like, then listen, that's enough people want to do that, then we're fine with doing that. In actual going through and bolting together, doing the work, it gives us more material. I tend to look at the world as, experience is the most valuable thing that to build your knowledge and to build your understanding of things. So it's worked for me, don't get me wrong. Every video is 12 to 24 hours of work just on the video. Every build is probably in the hundreds of hours by the time I've got to that point. So there's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. But I'm very willing to do that side of things, as to build the experience. It gives us more cred for the channel in the way of the rifles and things we've shot, and use guys' entertainment and hopefully knowledge as well with that side of things. So just a thought. I would say that thought extends to actions, chassis, triggers, bits and pieces, if there's that sort of thing. And I suppose I should explain a little bit to go with that, is that over here in Australia, we are a little challenged when it comes to support we get very little in the way of no sponsorship obviously, but we get very little support from the industry. There is positive thinking and that sort of stuff, and there is a couple of distributors that do help us. They do send us some rifles periodically to do some reviews on, and help us in a little bit in that fashion. But the majority of Australia's gun industry is driven by distributors or importers that distribute to gun shops and that sort of thing. And they are not on board with helping the likes of, well, not with us anyway, in the way of not a lot money spent on the advertising side of things, or the getting guns out there to do that sort of stuff. They really rely on what the manufacturers in the US do, and of course that's the other side of the world. So we don't have much in the way of options of getting that's a new rifle, get one here. We don't have a way to do that. Most of the distributors aren't interested in doing that side of things. So listen, that's another whole conversation, but it means that if you do want to see a rifle, if we've got the option, then we certainly ask. If it's with one of the couple of distributors that can help us, then we can ask that question. But if it's not, and you really want to see it, and there's enough people really want to see it, then we can use exactly the same process. And that's for a scope or a trigger or whatever it is if there's something you really want to see, and put it down there. If you're the only one, well, it's not going to happen unless you've got deep pockets. But if there is enough people that say exactly the same thing, then we can do the same thing. We'll go through the process, work out a budget, see if people want to go ahead and go from there. So listen, like I said, it's an idea. I think it's a good idea, but really it's down to you guys. It's down to the team out there viewing this video. And listen, it's open to all people. I would ask all people to subscribe and support us if you can. And I suppose this is support in a fashion. This is really about the thing you want to see. We also, as said, unsponsored channel, so we ask for support if you can in places to help us do this sort of stuff, to help us with all those hours I'm talking about. But listen, thank you for subscribers anyway. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, leave your comments below. If you don't like the idea, fine, you can leave that as well. It's really about a video to put your comment is to put in your suggestion, and for people, please read through the suggestions. If you don't, I will line it all up anyway. But if there is one there and you want to get on board with it, I think it's a way we can bring a whole lot more content to the channel. I think it's a way we can test that rifle that cartridge you want to see, and whether that's vicariously see because you'd just like to see how one performs, or you're really thinking about building this exotic thing and you'd like someone to do a bit of testing. I think this is the way we can help. Anyway guys, thanks for checking in. We'll catch you next time.